married her cousin. Morris Gorelick was a nephew of Aunt Bertha's, my Bubba Soros brother. No, my brother, Bubba Soros' brother's child. And Tante Cherna had married another cousin who was Bubby's nephew too, from another brother's child. So there was two cousins, married other two cousins out of two of my grandmother's brothers. And then later on, of course, Morris married Hannah, what was her name? God, Miller, Anna Miller, and she had Hansi, and that was a very sad day in our life because the day Hansi was born, Anna Miller had died, and we went from the cemetery to the bris, and Hansi's named after his late mother. Of course, later years, Uncle Morris got married, and he has Harriet now is a child of his. And the family goes on, we all got into our own families. Where else should I go from there? What shall I talk about? One day we had an experience when Debbie came over. She was just a baby.
Hi.
I think the most exciting life that we had on 2263 Madison Avenue when Debbie first came over. And she must have gone in convulsions, and one of the neighbors came to my mother, and she said, Miss Hankin, your mother-in-law is sitting there with the baby with this big scarf over her, as if she was gone, had her all covered up. So my mother ran down and made up a mustard plaster and brought her back, revived her. And I think that'll do for the Hankins. Now we'll go back to another story. And now I'm going to take you over. Let's go over here. It was taken in this, I bought in Israel, in King David's tomb. It was the only one left, the date of liberation, and the copy of this hangs. It's all handmade and all, it's done on silk, and it's embroidered on silk. The woman who made it, I don't know, but it hangs in the president's sukkah every Rosh Hashanah, and I happened to buy the last copy she had. And now we're going to go into our family here. This is my Bubba with her 25 great-grandchildren. Well, no, this one, there she is with the 20. My grandmother with the 25 grandchildren.
Okay, which?
This one right here. Yeah, I think most everybody in the family has this. And this is my this is my grandmother and grandfather right here. This one here. Oh, that's my grandmother. This is my grandmother. This is Sarah Rivka Hankin with my Chaim Leber Gershon. Okay, this picture over here, and wait a minute, let's start with this one first. This picture here is a picture of my mother and father when they came to America. She had this dress on with a velvet hat.
Okay.
My mother and father came over, and my mother wore one of her black wedding dresses, and she had a black velvet hat with a plume feather in it. And that's what she had. She was one of her trousseau dresses. This picture right here, my mother had on a black dress with trimmed in velvet, but the dress that I wore was made out of the skirt that my mother had on in this black velvet dress, and my father put red silk sleeves in it, and I wore this to Uncle Chaim's wedding and to Aunt Bertha's, Tante Rachel's wedding, and she got married. It was a double wedding with her and Uncle Morris. And of course Rose and Bella are on that. They're all gone now. I'm the oldest one in the clan of the family of 25, and I think 7 of them are gone. Myra and Belle and Rose and Izzy and Marvin and who else? Sydney and Gertie, they're all gone now. Of Barry when he was a little boy, and my father took my dress that I had worn to the wedding and made Barry a pair of pants, a pair of velvet pants, and the blouse that he's wearing was one of my trousseau blouses, and he made him a blouse out of it. This picture was their 35th wedding anniversary. Meyer had asked him to send the picture while he was overseas. He was over in Germany for 4 years and went over in 1945 out of Johns Hopkins and went to, and this was the picture to my picture. Phyllis was married in Denver with Lenny Horwitz about 8 years ago. And this is her second marriage. She has 2 gorgeous children. And Brad's got 3 little girls, and Sherry has a little boy and a girl. I was married about 15 years ago to Kenny Stein, and they have two beautiful children. And that's about it on them. Great granddaughter, her bas mitzvah. She's now 15 years old. And this past week I had my second great grandchild bar mitzvah. And thank God I have 10. Number 11's on the way. And I have a whole road to go here on the other side. But it's Scott and my mother at Scott's wedding. I think my mother died in 1985 in Pesach, and this was taken November the 22nd, 1984. She was she was 92 years old, and the last one of her family to live. She never thought, she was the second from the oldest, and she really had a lot of nachas from her children and grandchildren, and that was it. Marlene, who's taken this picture, now happens to be one of her grandson's wives. Okay. This is Bracha Ginsburg Gorelick. She was my mother's mother. Barry, God bless, is named after her. She was killed in January, in the Yom Kippur night of 1925. She was stabbed to death. And Labe, he was the son of a chopper, and that's another story of our family life. But he died at 75 during the war. And they had 12 children, 11 children that lived. And everybody had their own hardships, and it was a beautiful family, but there's a story of why he didn't want my mother to come to America. So that's another story. I think I'm going to tell you two stories that happened in my grandparents' life. Leib was Yisrael Leib was a wonderful person, and he wanted to get married. So he went to the shotgun, and the shotgun told him to go to a certain door. He knocks on the door, and he says, "Does so-and-so live here?" And she said no, and when he saw the girl, he didn't like her look, so he says, "Oh, I got the wrong door." So he went to the market house, and he saw my Baba Bracha. She was a beautiful blonde. My sister Rose Alshon looked like her, Sarah Ruth. Anyway, he saw my Baba selling bagel, and he decided he was going to marry her, and they were married. But years later, he was one of his youngest brother just died in Los Angeles a couple years ago. I was there. I met Uncle Zelig was a baby. Tanda Chadvira was a sister in Canada, had a lot of children, and it's a big family. But his father was one of the choppers, and his name was David Meshe. And I think there's quite a few Davids in the family named after him. He grew up in Parich too. But another interesting story, I mean, I don't want to go into sad stories, but this family's really had it. During the war, he was the one that didn't want my mother, I think I told the story with the rabbi, didn't I? Them going to the rabbi, not coming to America. Yes, I told that story. So that story is taken care of. I think the greatest accomplishment of my life, after living through fire and floods and all kinds of aggravation in the family, but I think my greatest accomplishment was bringing over my 6 Russian cousins. I feel like I saved 6 worlds. They've been a great comfort to me. There was no aggravation. Sam Alshom and I put together 2 apartments for them. There wasn't needles and pins missing. Of course, I guess you all know who they are. 6 that I brought over, the 6 that I brought over was my mother, Alshom, her brother's name was, oh God, not here, from Herschel. And it was her son, his son that I brought over, Chaim, with his wife Dora, and his son Lee, and a daughter Alla. And Alla came over with her husband, Arkady, and they had a 9-year-old little girl. Today she graduated college. She's got a very nice job, and Arkady is working for a contractor in electrical contracting, and Lee's working for Social Security. He's married, has a beautiful 2 children. So as I said, I lived to do everything I wanted in life, and that was an unexpected venture. And Sam and I worked. I mean, I'm so proud. If I wouldn't have been retired, I had never been able to accomplish it. But in the end, in my life, I think that I've done a pretty good job of trying to keep the world alive and just live life every day. Every day's my birthday. That's how I've always felt. When somebody says, "Oh, when's your birthday?" I says, "Every day I live is my birthday." And I thank God for all my good years I have. I have two beautiful children, Phyllis and Barry, and they both work very hard to get to where they are. Barry's a periodontist. Phyllis has got her doctorate in computer science, and she married Lenny, who's a podiatrist. Barry married Sandy, who's a teacher. And Scott is my grandson, oldest grandson. He's a dentist. And then there's Beth, she's a periodontist. And Jonathan's my lawyer. And who did I lost my brother, Meyer, and I lost Bill, and I lost Rose. And I'm still the oldest of all the 25 cousins. And what else can I say? I wish you all, everybody, the very best for a long, healthy life. Live to my age and then some. It's all I wish you all. Wish you well. Thank you so much, Marlene. I appreciate this greatly. Sarah Ruth, of course, is my sister Earl Shulman's daughter. And Barbara, who's done very well now. She's an artist. She has a wonderful job. She's working with Johns Hopkins, and she's teaching at Stella Maris. No, I forget what's the name of some college. And Joe, of course, has two children, and one of them just went in for medicine. Oh no, for intergastroenterology, and he just became engaged. So we're very happy about that. And Allison has two beautiful children. And who did I forget? Sarah Ruth has 3 children, and John is in the service, and Abby and God, what's her name? Abby and Rachel. Right. Abby and Rachel, and she's married to a very nice man, Jerry Saunders. And I think I've got everybody by now, haven't I? Well, what else can I tell you all? I hope someday that you can. I thank Marlene. Oh, I forgot Belle's family. Belle had Norman. I was talking to Marlene here, and Carol and Sarah Ruth. And Meyer has the 2 sons, David and Howard, and he's got 2 daughters. Alan and John. What?
Oh, Alan and John.
Alan and John, and who else did I forget?
And Carol's children.
Who? Yeah, Belle's grandchildren are getting too nervous.
Jenny.
Wait a minute, huh?
Jenny
and
Stacy.
David. Huh? Stacy, and who's the little one?
And Daniel.
Daniel. So I forgot them. Good thing I have a good coachman here. And Marley, she's working so hard here, and I didn't even mention her name. So I hope she forgives me. Is that it? Sei mir gesund, everybody. Have a good, happy, healthy year. That's it.